What's going on, everybody? We're back in the booth, and I'm hanging with people who are doing the dang thing when it comes to supporting the sport of baseball. And well, as I record this, we're just a couple days removed from one of the greatest World Series of all time, and now it's a cold, dark spot of that silly season. No baseball for months, but that's okay. The show will rock on. And speaking about rocking on, despite some dark moments, man. please welcome my guest on the show, man, Jalani Morgan, who is part and owner of the Black Jays Project. We're talking about that and more on this interview. Sir, I want to ask you how you're doing, but I understand it's a loaded question. As a Blue Jays fan, talk to me.
Oh, that question hasn't really resonated yet, even if I've heard it from very many places. But it was a great run. It was literally a great run. Like I saw quality baseball, like fantastic both sides of the team. Like it was great, great narratives. I like the story. I like the quality of baseball. Like, yeah, I couldn't ask for anything better than that. I mean, obviously better than that's a championship, but
Yeah.
you know ball. Like when you see good ball, you know you're happy when it's over, even if it's not going to happen ever again in that version. Oh man.
You're talking to a Mets fan. I know exactly what that is. But let's take a step back. Let's talk about the Blue Jays fandom, right? It's always fascinating for me, being an American, watching Canada's team, I guess soul team, show up, rise up, have people come out. What was your fandom like as a kid? Was it just kind of like a light in the bottle moment? Was it instantaneous thing? Was it kind of a slow burn? Was games on in the house? Like, well, how did you get into the fandom?
Every version of what you just said happened. Like it was
Okay.
in it was in the house, it was at the games, it was on the radio. I come from the radio generation still, right? Like when it was a means of hearing the games too. And so my earliest memories is 87 exhibition stadium.
Mhm.
Uh, can't tell you the game, but know that I was present. And so it really, really started in 91 because what led up to that is when we lost to Minnesota. And when we
Mhm.
lost to Minnesota, that's when I first cried in sport. Like that was the first moment of, oh yeah, I'm like 10 years old and this is the worst day of my life.
Yeah.
And then the year after that, we go win on my birthday
Oh wow.
as an 11-year-old. And so I was sold at that point. Devon White was, the center fielder. We had like we had the team that looked like me and my journey through baseball because like I played, throughout like T-ball to maybe up until 12. And so
Mhm.
like baseball is like a language for me, and seeing it as a child in Toronto, watching like cats that like look like me rocking. Oh, like it set the tone. Like baseball is my first sort of knowledge and knowing a lot of things about myself. So for sure.
Well, let me answer that question because it sounds like we're about the same age. I think I was 7 or 8 when the Blue Jays won their title last. Like the
Yeah.
'90s were like the rise of like Madden and one mixtape tours and Space Jam. But
Yeah.
but we rock with baseball. Like there
Oh,
was
for sure.
any kind of pull to try the other sports or
Well,
so cool.
basketball was around because when the Raptors came, that's when that in through my teenage years it kind of took my space as well. But baseball was always in the background in my like mid teenage years.
Mhm.
Um, and golf in fairness. Like
Okay, yeah,
and the rise of Madden means the Denver Broncos for a lot of reasons that there's a long story, but it was Terrell Davis and the divorcing of me and the Bills like when I was 11 years old. I made a good
yeah.
decision, I think. But it doesn't matter. That's sort of the journey through sport for me. Baseball was always in the background even throughout when it wasn't um yeah, it just wasn't prime time in my like socialization, but it's always about my like I played softball, I play softball. So yeah, like baseball, totally, always in.
I kind of wish I played baseball as a kid. The thing is, I was so heavy set that I didn't do those kind of team baseball. I did karate because I wanted to be a Power Ranger. But it's not about me. It's about you,
I
man.
have so many questions, but you're right. It is about me, and we'll get to them, I hope.
Yeah, exactly. The insurance plans for being a Power Ranger are terrible. Okay, so I
I
I, I
love it.
came across your work a couple weeks
Mm,
ago. We're talking about the Black Jays project. Now, I was
mm,
lucky enough to visit all 30 ballparks. I completed my quest this year. I went to
same.
Ryder Center in April when it was snowing. It was a work from dome day, and I didn't see too many people that looked like me. But the
Hmm.
crux of your project was finding people who look like you or I. Talk to me how it starts, and talk to me how it's evolved over time.
Yeah. I mean, I think, for the last 8 years, I've been documenting the Jays. And so my work here in Toronto is as a photo director and a photographer in the city. And so I'm tasked with myself with finding the story, right? Like I'm a journalist, so I have to find the story. And baseball's been the center of my work for a long time prior to even starting there. And so, I have exhibition work that is about baseball. And so I try to find ways of like stories that look like me and my love for baseball. I come from Sandlot era where that
Okay.
young black kid was like, he was a star for me, but like wasn't the star, but was. And
Right.
so I want more of those stories. And so I was like, well, here's this opportunity. There's some from fantastic photography in Toronto. And how do I add to the archive of baseball? Because like I want to make sure it has a full look. And so
Hmm.
yeah, that's what it was. It was me seeing myself in the stands, me seeing myself behind the scenes, the field, the people that make the grass look so fantastic. The people that throw out the first pitch, the fans. Just try to make sure we normalize how baseball is. You're here doing the work too, right? And
Well,
so
I try.
you are. And so yeah, just that's my version of why I cared about making this work called the Black Jays Project.
Well, we'll talk with the actual moment though, because I think all of us have gone to a ballpark and go, "Hey,
Mhm.
look, another brother or sister. That's cool." But then you went, "That's cool. Wait a minute, this is actually important. I'm gonna go and like try to make sure I can preserve this." I mean, that really was an extra step. When did that come into play?
So at the end of a game, I don't know, maybe about 6 years ago, I saw a baseball from one of the field guys just threw it to a kid in the game after the fact, like there were the fans waiting for like signatures or baseballs or whatever the case, and identified this black kid, gives them the baseball, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take a photograph of that moment. It just felt really nice, right? Because like you don't really see that visual too often, and
Yeah.
so as someone to say that this existed, it'd be really nice to show that. I photographed that moment, and then it's sort of like spiraled into seeing that happen every time I tried to make it happen at the game. I would see all sorts of folks there. It was during COVID sometimes that I was shooting when at the tail end of it. People were masked up, but still, in the isolation, I wanted like other black folks to be seen in those spaces. And so photographing like the staff was as well a big part of that as well too. I just wanted to sort of like tell the full story. Like there's so much great photography. So it's just like, where does my work land? It's right there. And so these moments continued and continued, and I've been doing it for like the last, 8 years. And so it being now seen and seeing what has happened since, and there's I like that there's curiosity with our folks in the U.S. because there are a big community of black folks that love baseball up here. And from
Right.
like the 90s and from like the 70s, like I met a 77-year-old, or I say that, sorry, she's watched the second game with the Jays in 77. And she's been watching it since. And so like telling those stories and making sure that she's remembered. Because I'm a journalist, but an artist. So like I have to have the curiosity of a journalist, but like I don't know, the mindset of making work as an artist. So that's kind
Yeah.
of why
Sure.
this work kind of met each other.
Yeah, definitely. Almost like you're a sculptor in that way. Not literally, but you're taking the story and seeing the lens in which you're admiring it. I want to ask about the demographics within the Black Jays community, and I
Mm-hmm.
say this because I'm first generation American. My
Right.
parents came to the United States in the '70s, about 6 years before the West Indian explosion. So they kind of got here a little earlier. My
Okay.
dad did not understand American cricket. And so he put on two teams at the same time of American cricket. I picked the Mets because more people look like me. So representation plus a curiosity of the sport got me into it. What is like the demographics in Canada? Because I know there's a huge West Indian community out there. There's African community.
Yep.
There's Black Canadians. I mean, the free slaves from Halifax era. Like, what exactly is the makeup of the Black community that RJ's fans?
You said it the best. Like I don't want to like sully what you had said, right? Like that um collection of different places from the diaspora is how Toronto is shaped. There are the folks from Halifax that are here, the folks from the Caribbean that are here, the folks from the continent has come over and converged here, right? And so where I fall in is where my parents came from, the Caribbean, St. Vincent specifically.
What's
This
up?
was in the 70s, right? And so my dad loved cricket, but cricket wasn't on TV in Toronto. So baseball was the most adjacent sport to watch sport, and that's how he became a Jays fan. And then the era of Mosby, Jesse Barfield, like George Bell, like there was again, it was something that he had seen himself, and that helped him become a fan too. So same deal with you with the Mets, right?
Yeah,
And
I
and
mean,
and that carried through with me.
yeah, it's kind of funny. It was almost the same team. Garfield Sobers is a Bayesian legend, and so it's totally funny that like that's so close to parallels. But let's
Yeah.
talk about parallels some more. What are the differences? What are the similarities between Blackness in Canada and Blackness in the United States? A very broad question. I understand that, but I think it's a lot of times we're a lot closer than we think we are, even though we're separated by an entire border.
Yeah, I think baseball is a really good place to start that conversation, right? Because there's absence in that conversation of blackness in Canada. I
Hmm.
know it from the US, right? Like there's so many places that I've learned baseball through an American black lens, and I like to see the possibilities of those synergies coming closer. Because yeah, there's generations of baseball lovers from the 70s for sure. Jean, who I had told you I'd photograph, she's in, bless her soul, she's in her 80s. And so she's been watching the team since. And she had watched it with other friends, right? And so that's just one person that I've met through Instagram. Imagine everyone else that would have been around that time. So yeah, I think I'm really excited about seeing these synergies. I don't know what I think this work is going to help do those conversations, right? Because like even you and I talking right now, I think what it means is not much more than like a shared love for a sport. If it's baseball, we're going to talk about, right?
Yeah,
Black Americans love baseball, and we know that, and I know that Black Canadians love baseball because we know it, and so the experience is different. There's the ones, as I said, that I know from me being Caribbean, and that experience informed, I think, how I got into baseball here in Canada specifically.
sure.
Soccer wasn't really shown, so I didn't really catch up with soccer until, I don't know, 10 years ago, really. And
Right.
so,
Yeah.
and football wasn't here in Canada other than the CFL, right? And basketball wasn't here either, right? Like there wasn't, so baseball kind of was the major sport here in Toronto to support, and by chance it looked like that. So yeah, I think those links are there through baseball, in fairness.
I love the fact that because now it's paying dividends, right? You're like almost giving back to the, you're almost you are giving back to the sport after being exposed to it for so long, which is pretty cool. So
Yeah.
walk me through it, man. I'm in Toronto. You said you're gonna take me out to a Jays game. Where are we sitting? Where are we eating? Where are we gonna check out Vladdy? I mean, take me through everything, man.
Okay, so hot dog definitely before the game. Doesn't change. Amazing, 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 amazing amount of like options there. You want to see the game from the third baseline, in fairness for me, but the
Okay.
general admission ticket right now is like the best ticket right now. They have this like very accessible general admission ticket. It feels like the same time that they were doing it during exhibition because that's what Gina had told me, and that's sort of what started that. So general admission, you just want to be in the building in that place. Like once you find a really good game, just be in the building. Just be in the building. Because the echo, the mood, the energy, there's nothing like it. Like you saw it in the like World Series, I'm sure, but that can
Hmm.
happen on a July 1st game, which is Canada Day. That can
Yeah.
happen on like a Thursday in June. Like it's a vibe. So that's how I would set it up for you to have a great time over there for sure.
But by the way, we're talking about before we went live about the hat I'm
Hmm.
wearing on those in the audio version. I have the late early '90s. I call it the Strongbird hat. But I will say the Blue Jays bring out the big guns on Canada Day, and the only reason why I know what Canada Day is because they'll drop like this hot red cap or like a uniform. I'm like, what's that? Like it was Canada Day. What's that? You know what I mean? So
And you know what? We used to really for fashion, I love it because there's like another version of our logo officially, but we end up
Okay.
losing that game very often in a very long run. We've been better now, so I'm hoping better blessings for those jerseys. But yeah, there are it's a really good line in the sand in Toronto specifically. It's like, we don't want to see it, just give us our regular stuff, or oh, we love it because it's Canada Day. And so
Right.
it's a fun conversation always during that time.
Is there a sense of national pride behind the team, it being the sole Canadian team, or is that something we put on it because we're in America? We're like, oh, that team's over there. Is that something that we just kind of force it, or is it a real thing?
No, I think that feels organic because, like, when you live here, you might not live here in 15 years and you might be somewhere else. And so, if there's a few other people in that place that you live, yeah, there's a bond for Toronto still. And that just
Okay.
sort of is planted all over the country, in fairness,
Y-
and sometimes in America too, right?
Yeah,
Because you
I
see
hear
how they
you.
mobilize, right? Like we mobilize at away games. I'm sure it happens at the Mets games when we play you.
Right, the seven line is kind of like the supporters section, I guess that goes
Yeah,
around there. No, it's
yeah,
funny because like it kind of depends here and what park you go to. Like if I go to like Dodger Stadium, it's really about the Dodgers, and this is why I'm
yeah.
saying this. But like if you go see like the Rangers, at least when I went, it felt pretty like Yeehaw America. Like there was a Rangers, but then there was like a whole overtone of like you are in Texas. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I
That's
didn't
not
know.
gonna like.
Yeah, I don't know what that meant. I don't know what that meant over there. That's pretty cool. So it's the off season now. I mean, what are
Mhm.
you doing between entries in the Black Jays project? Is there no off season for the Black Jays project? Do you hang out? Is there a winter sport you love? Like, what's the deal?
Well, as my practice as a photo director, I still have like the work that I do there, and so that really informs it. Sometimes we have sports stories, so I like assign. I love photography no matter what, right? So I get the privilege of hiring other people to do work as well too. So sometimes it's like seasons, right? Like sometimes the winter's not season for baseball, but what this moment seems to unearth is the possibility of other things happening. I would
Hmm.
love to shoot in winter ball, like that. These things are sort of the ways that I want to continue working in baseball and telling that story. So I don't know yet, right? Like I'm always prepared to shoot something and photograph baseball during winter, but maybe that will change now that this is getting the frequency of a lot of eyes on it. And that's nice
Yeah,
because I think it mobilizes other baseball works to come out of it. So I'm excited. I don't know what it's going to look like yet, but yeah, it's a seasonal thing. I might be in a little bit of off season, but always prepared.
it's so important to me because what you've done is kind of like what this show is about. Because I mean, like, it is. Yes, we all know
Hmm.
cognitively there are
Yeah.
millions of us that exist, and there's millions of baseball fans. Probability stays. There should be theoretically millions of black baseball fans, especially those of us who grew up in the '90s. It felt
Yeah.
like they lost a cool crown. And my theory has always been after the steroid era and the player strike, baseball said we're going to market the league as being clean cut, and that kind of
Hmm.
was corny compared to how some of the aggressive. I'm not sure if it's true. It's my theory. I'm working on it, but
No,
I
I
will
hear you.
say, trying to find fans together and collectively has been so fulfilling because you feel like you're part of these tribes. Like you ever seen the movie Avatar, where it's like, oh, you're the fire tribe, you're the water tribe. Like you're like me, but you're different.
Yeah.
Has there been someone you came across that had a story that came completely unexpected that you go, oh my gosh, I can't believe our common through line is this team, but your story couldn't be more different than my own.
Oh, wow. That's what I would say though. I still want to tell this story in fullness of Gene Thompson because you wouldn't expect for this grandmother to be such a staunch lover of baseball, you know? And
Yeah.
so meeting her and hearing that she was a shortstop for her ball team, and me describing to the lady that had connected me, and I'm describing her what a shortstop is and the nuances that are needed to play that position, the athleticism that is doing that, and I'm like, Gene, am I describing it right? And she's like, yes, because like a shortstop to be a shortstop in any league, you don't. It doesn't mean if you're a softball league, a t-ball league, you got to be athletic, right? And so it just was like this fantastic connection that I didn't anticipate having,
Hmm.
and her being so committed to baseball and her watching it and her playing in it and me not meeting her up until now and I'm in my 40s, like that in itself is the unexpectedness that I didn't, there's a, I document when I see these things, but sometimes the relationships within those photos are in the moment, right? Like I just want to make sure that I have that for you and you have that like artifact, but sometimes you get a little bit further. And so I got to do that with Gene even in that moment. And so um yeah, I would say those sort of connections are the ones that are unexpected, independent of like our shared existence of being black, right? But like if I didn't do this project, I wouldn't have met her. And so
Yeah.
maybe the Jays may not have known about her. And maybe she may not have been seen in the ways that I think she would want to because she loves them. There's so much artifacts of baseball stuff. She showed me like the exhibition last book. She showed me her baseball card that she took at fanfare. They had, yeah, there's so many artifacts. So, and she puts it on public display and she lives on her own. So she obviously loves them. And so those unexpected things are like really exciting for me. That one still has resonated deeply with me.
Question, man. Someone gives you a phone call, big Blue Jays fan, and wants to be part of the project, but they live halfway across the world. Dubai, Philippines, Italy. You hopping on that plane? You gonna go out there and talk to them their story? Would that be something that you'd be interested in, or is it more of a Toronto focused project?
No, I mean, I baseball in general is my love. Black folks is my love. And if there's places to talk about either one of those, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. I think I do very well in spaces where I could talk about baseball and black folks because I love them both and photography. So for sure. And my passport is ready to go.
Let's go. I got a couple more questions as we wind this down, man.
Yeah.
This has been such a cool conversation talking about how you took a creative idea. A lot of people would have said, that's nice, that's nice," and you actually made it a tangible thing that could be shared. Who is your guy right now on the team? Like who? Like if you're watching the game right now, you're like, "Yo, that's my dude." Are you a Bichette guy? You a Vladdy guy?
Those
Osprey
two
guy?
are always going to be because like I remember them like when Vladdy had his locks, right? Like, and I had dreads, so there was just like this like shared hypeness about seeing your one of your favorite players have locks as well. So and then seeing those two bonds, so that two separate for sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
Kirk, I love Alejandro Kirk. He's supposed like what he can do with what he has and does it so high level. It's incredible to watch him. And so Ernie Clement and yeah, there's so many like these. We have Max Scherzer on our team. Are you kidding me? Like I could look back and go, this guy should like threw Game 7 for us. That's sick. You know,
I was telling my boys I could get that Yes Savage jersey because the dude's still a rookie technically, which is nuts. Pitching the World
nuts.
Series is
Absolutely,
still a rookie.
absolutely, absolutely. Even our third base coach, like it's been like I love seeing having a black third base coach. Like sometimes I forget all their names, but love seeing that, just from watching baseball as well too. So yeah, there's so many parts of that place that has shown why I think the city has mobilized in a way that even went beyond 2015 and 2016. And so yeah, I hope this is a momentum to see further than this moment because I think so for real.
And I got one more question for you. On in the booth, we
Hmm.
ask everyone this question. I'm going to ask you the same: is baseball cool, or why not?
Baseball is cool because it bonds like all of my communities in ways that I hadn't seen in all the other sports that I love. And especially in Toronto, like once you see Toronto Blue Jays rocking, like it does it, there's a cadence to this city that I just love to see. And so yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, baseball's cool, man.
No, I
Yeah,
love it,
baseball's
man.
cool.
Thank you so much for your time
No,
and just
thank
coming up
you.
here in the booth. But here's the fun part now. Someone's listening to you and your story and the project itself, Black Jays. How exactly can they connect with you, see the project, see it grow, be part of the next step of your chapter of your journey of your creations?
Yeah, well, I've been thinking a lot about like reciprocity. And so I don't like this project is not I want people that want to be a part of it, they don't need to spend money on being a part of it for me. Like they spent so much money being a fan of a sport. Like my role is just to make sure that like we can see them being loved, And so I've been, yeah, I've been doing this work of a labor and I still will. And so I want to continue to do that. I have the website on my website right itself, so it's JalaniMorgan.com/Black Jays Project. You'll see the work there. It's a fluid like body of work. I'm taking donations to do the work because like I also know that this is a labor of love, and if people want to see it get sort of grown, so maybe Dubai happens or
Yeah.
maybe Chicago happens, or all the things that allow for us to talk about baseball in this way. It helps as well, and I didn't really realize it until I said it out loud, that I love this project. And so seeing it being received, I just want to that's the reciprocity that I'm trying to work on, right? So yeah, what you're doing is giving back as well too. And so yeah, I love this level of reciprocity, and I want to continue that through this project.
Well, thanks so much for your time, man. We got to run it back sometime in the season. I know as the Jays run it back, try hopefully get that World Series ring. We gotta make sure you gotta connect. This is in the booth, Flobo Boys. Thanks so much for being on the show, and make sure you follow the show over the Black Baseball Mixtape family of podcasts. My man, we out.
Wicked.